I forgot to ask you, let me record this. Then I can send it to you. Hello, I think we are live. And I am super, super excited on this International Women's Day to have our soul sister, Delphine Lady D, with us.
So excited to be here, Gypsy Mama. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
I am doing awesome. It's a beautiful day out.
Is that on my end? I'm sorry. Sorry.
I think it is. I think it is. I know all this technical stuff. Isn't it ridiculous?
We were just saying that. We're like, the technical stuff.
So ridiculous. It just,
Okay, so sorry, that just interrupted you right when I was asking you how you were doing. So let's try that again. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? I'm doing fabulous. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, no complaints here. No complaints at all. How are you?
I'm doing good. I did wake up with a very intense migraine today, but I went back to sleep for a bit and it seems to have subsided a little bit. So I asked my little guy, so can you please send me do some Reiki on me? So that helped a bit here. So, and it
Great.
seems pretty bright out. It's still, we got another cold snap here, but I think we're hopefully soon we are going to be out of this insane cold snap.
Oh, good. Good. And I'm glad your migraine subsided because those are horrendous.
Yeah,
horrendous.
Not fun.
Not fun at all.
No. So we've got a few people. We've got hello, Joe and Lori. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I wanted to have, do you prefer to be called Lady D or Delphine? What do you?
You can call me whatever. You can call me Lady D, Delphine.
Goddess, the goddess that you are.
Whichever you prefer. It's so funny. When I started the channel, I should have just said Soul Therapy with Delphine. But when I first came up with my screen name, it was so long ago. It was back when I was just a chatter, in the chat. And I wanted to be incognito before I started getting on camera and starting to put my face in front of the world again. So
yeah. But I love it. I love the Lady D. It is kind of mysterious and that actually leads right into it because even your name, the Soul Therapy, can you let us know what is it that you offer? Like, how did you come up with Soul Therapy? What does that mean for you?
Well, Soul Therapy is quite simply, it's life coaching, but it's spiritually based. I came up with it because, and I'm sure you know about this, Gypsy Mama, very, very, very close and near and dear to your heart. When you have spiritual gifts, when you're an empath or you're intuitive, or if you're psychic or if you're channeler, you suffer with a lot of mental health issues because in your life, I was born this way. I mean, my great grandmother was the town psychic in Palermo, Italy. My name, Delphine, derives from the Oracle of Delphi, which is the soothsayer, which was the oracle for the gods back in Greece. So it's really in my divine DNA. It's in my DNA. So when, going back, I've been a psychic ever since I can remember. And so, I can't ever remember not being psychic. So because of this, when you're so open, you absorb the world. And for many, many years, I absorbed everyone else's stuff, the world, the people around me. And when you're very sensitive, you're a target for people in the world. So I was teased, and there's just an array of mental health issues that we suffer being star seeds or whatever you want to call it. And I spent years and years both in seeing therapists and psychologists who misdiagnosed me of having all these mental illnesses because at the time I did not know that they were spiritually based. And I thought I was insane, as many of us. And so I spent years, I finally took myself, they put me on a bunch of this psychotic medication that I should have never been on, which made me suicidal and even more depressed and put me in a dark hole. And finally, I just started meditating and praying to God, and God said, you know, you need to get off of that stuff. But the thing that did help me with modern medicine and the Western medicine was talk therapy, speaking with a therapist. And what I realized through the years of therapy were all the spiritual tenets and all the spiritual tenets and knowledge and philosophies that I began to develop throughout the years by doing my own spiritual research. They went hand in hand with the clinical psychology, and they were absolutely, if not identical. And so I took myself off of all of these medications, which I wouldn't suggest. I should have done it with a doctor. But at the time, you know, when you're in such a dark hole, you just do whatever you're just so desperate. And so I don't know, they messed with my dopamine. So I took myself off of them, which I should have slowly done. And I just started to meditate, and I just started to do the regular clinical therapy. And then I weaned off that, and I realized I don't need that. And there are times when I still go to clinical therapists. However, I realized there's nobody for people like us to see, people who are spiritually gifted, people who are psychics or channels. And when we're suffering with issues because of our gifts or because of the world, it's not like if I went to a clinical therapist and I said, you know, I'm having downloads or my angel talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just like there's no spiritual side of therapy. So that's why I've kind of started this, because I know that I've needed it and there's nothing out there. So that's why I've started to do it myself.
I love that. And it's so true. One of my best friends that I'm so lucky to have a handful of people that live here that I can actually gather with. We talk about that a lot, where so many people, her mom being one of them, where it's like so many misdiagnoses, and it just, so much of this makes sense now, where it's like, those were gifts, those were her downloads she was getting, those were all these things that they just medicated her, or all different people, right? I feel like so much with kids, so many of the star seeds that come in, and they get misdiagnosed because it's so dense here for them. It's really hard for them, are the ones that are, they're gazing off because it's, they know so much more than we do, right? Or even my middle daughter, when she was younger, she didn't speak for a long time, but I always knew. And even back then, I wasn't spiritually awoken, but I always just told people, well, she's communicating, like, just look at her eyes, like she's communicating to you. You just have to feel it. And I mean, then I didn't even think about telepathy, right? But I was just like, I just knew that she was communicating with people in a different way. And it's just, it is so sad that we've got this box, right, that we have to put people in. If they don't fit in there, then they get diagnosed with this, that, and the other thing. Did you find that a lot of your spiritual gifts, when you were on the medications, did it like hinder them? Did you find that?
Oh, absolutely. I was in a horrible place. When I was on those medications, I was an insomniac. I couldn't sleep. I was a nervous wreck. I've never done speed, but I can imagine I was like when you have too much coffee, I was a mess. I was suicidal. I was in a dark hole. And now I know why they purposely put us on those, because they want to separate us from our gifts. And it's been designed by the beast system to do that.
It all makes sense. And that's the thing, is as you awaken, I always say this, is like, no matter what part of the journey you awaken to, eventually it all comes to the spirituality, because it's a spirituality that we realize how powerful we are. And we realize all of these things have been done to us to prevent us from truly understanding and unlocking and remembering, because this is all within us, right? So some people like yourself are so blessed to have been born with remembering this already. You remember that you have these gifts, but I say that you're blessed in the 3D density that it took you down this road of, you know, living in this matrix that we live in. So yes, it is a blessing, but it's hard. It's really, really hard when society as we know it, which is crumbling. You know, I truly believe that the more and more starseeds that are coming in with these awake parents are able to support them, right, with things, you know, when their kids come to them and say like, I'm hearing this, or I can see this, or I just know this, and being able to nurture that within them. So what you're doing is so, so important. And for adults, right? Like even just seeing Lori saying that for her, depression was a big one, right? And how much she can really relate to this. And I know too, like so many people, I think, have shut down their abilities, either because parents or school system or whatever tells you like, no, that's not true, or that's, you know, that's make believe, or you're crazy and let's get you on this medication and that. So I think, you know, hearing this kind of thing is so important, being able to, like you said, having somebody doing what you're doing isn't really, like, you're probably one of the first that I've heard of, right? Like being able to have a therapist that is awake and knows these gifts that people hold. So it's so beautiful. And then when I heard your story more, that was why I was like, I need to have her on. I like, this woman just has all these gifts I didn't know about. I just, you know how you connect with people in these chats and you're just like, this is just like my person. I know that. And then when you get to know them more, you're just like, wow. And you were definitely one of them, because I knew that you did readings and stuff, but I didn't know that this was a part of your life, like that you grew up pretty much like awake to a lot of your abilities without knowing what they were. What you talked a little bit about what that was like, being a kid growing up. What can you go into that a little? I always like to focus because I have kids, and kids are a big focus for me. Sure. What do you think, if you can suggest something for people that have kids that they're starting to see these gifts in them, is there anything that you could suggest of like things that would be helpful?
Sure. First and foremost, believe them. Believe them. How many times have they heard in their lives that they're it's not real, that it's make believe, that they're lying, that this isn't really happening to them? So the first thing you can do is believe your children. When your children saying, I see something, or I hear someone, or I have this friend, or I'm talking to Nana, they are. And I think also starting a spiritual practice young, which I'm sure you do. I'm sure you've already taught your children how to meditate, and just teaching them young to be quiet and to be still, and to, you know, take away their phones, turn off the televisions, turn off their computers. Our children are subjected to too many things at a young age. And when they're always like this on their phones, they're not in their spirit. So I think as parents, the number one thing is that, you know, we grew up, we didn't grow up with all this technology. We grew up with televisions, but that was it. What did our parents say? Go out and play. Have our children go out and play. Have them spend time with nature. Have them be free. So teach them to meditate, teach them spiritual practices. Have them spend time alone, to make sure that they unplug. Have them go out and play and spend time in nature. Also, you know, I know this is easier said than done now, but honest to God, if I don't have children, I wasn't blessed with children in this life, but if I did, I'd seriously consider homeschooling them. Now that I know what they're being taught, I wouldn't let my kids go to school. And that's easy. I know that's easier said than done because there's so many people that need to work. But now that we've learned what our children are being taught and subjected to, I just think any type of getting them away of society and keeping them home and making sure you're influencing your children and not the world is really vital and important.
So true. All of that. I totally agree with that 100%. And yeah, those are things that I do with my children. I am that strict parent who very limit, like my kids have so much, or is very limited to the amount of like screen time that they have. And I do homeschool them, although I am being faced right now with my son's dad wanting to put him into the system. So I'm even more than ever being like, this needs to crumble now. This needs
I don't blame you,
because this is the thing, you know, and this is, I'm sure there's other people that may watch this that do have, you know, a split home, and it's like one parent is here and the other parent is here. And, you know, just also, if that is the road that it goes down, I will be in there. Like, I will be making sure I am one of those parents that I am like, I need to know what he's being taught, you know, like, because that's the thing. If you do have kids in the system, be a part of it, you know, be that parent that, you know, this, I understand that sometimes it's hard to like, to speak up, and you don't want to be that parent that's always causing, but you know what, these are your children, and the stuff that's happening in the school system, as you said, it's horrific, to be honest. Like, I mean, I am so thankful that I did pull my kids out of the system, because they see things so clearly. You know, they'll hear things and they're just like, did you see that? Like, even before you know, they're like, did you see that, mom? Or like, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm teaching them to question things. And that's something that, even to question me, you know, I say, even if there's something that I'm saying, or I want you to, and you have a question me about that, right? Because maybe I'm still learning too, right? And maybe I'm telling them something that was just passed down to me, right? Because they're still unlearning that we're all doing as well. Yeah. So without thinking about it, right? There's still programs within us. So I think that's such great advice that you gave for that. I wanted to put, for those, I'm sure most people know your channel already, but I want to make sure I get your channel so that people can make sure they follow you. So that one is, I just put your website, which I'm going to pin that one. I want to try to test my technological skills here. I'm going to see if we can put up your website, because I would love to. Okay, here's your YouTube is going in there too. Okay, so everybody, I just put up her YouTube as well as her website. So definitely make sure you head over to her YouTube, give her a like and subscribe, put that notification bell, and let me see if I can do this properly. I want to show your website. Share screen. Okay, let me see. Sorry, everyone.
Gotta love that technology.
I know, right? Okay. Can you, I can't see now that I'm sharing. Does that show?
Yeah, there you go. You did it, Gypsy
I did it. Okay.
You are technologically inclined, girl.
Let's see. Okay, I want to run through this.
It's only one page. It's nothing big.
I love that though, because you know what, it's nice and easy. Like I love, it's not too much, right? Like sometimes some websites are like, oh my goodness, I can't even get through all this. But yeah, so to go a little bit more in depth, so soul therapy with Lady D. So you're a psychic, intuitive tarot reader, spiritual coach, and meditation instructor, which I was blessed to experience one of your meditations. That was last Thursday, right? That you did for all of us, which was so beautiful. I absolutely loved that.
Thank you.
It was absolutely beautiful. And this part I wanted, because this part is so important. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I too grew up in the church. And a lot of these things, like as a young age, tarot was always something that really interested. Tarot and astrology were always so interesting to me. And I think even as a young kid, I knew that I was a witch multiple times in past lives. So I had some friends and I that we would always like dabble in different things. But, you know, being in church, you're told like all these things are bad, you know, do not talk about tarot, even energy work, right? Even as I got older and I left the Catholic church and I moved to like a Baptist church. And I remember being at like Bible studies and stuff, and I would be questioning all these different things in the Bible and talking about energy work or yoga. And it was always like, that's evil. Don't talk about that. And it was like, but that, it like, even then I was like, but that's straight from God, from source. Like, I don't understand. How is this evil? So did you want to talk a little bit about this here? Because I think this is really important.
Sure. Well, I was brought up Catholic like you. I call myself a recovering Catholic. And just like you, Gypsy Mama, I was into astrology and tarot at a very young age. And in fact, I remember I made my own Ouija board, but I called it a spirit board. And my father walked in on me and he screamed at me and told me that it was satanic, that I was going to bring in the devil and all this stuff, which, you know, you do have to be careful doing Ouija boards because I could have brought in something really bad, not knowing what I was doing. But, you know, just like the devil has his people that he gives powers to, and you know, if the devil has his witches and his people that do his rituals and he gives gifts, don't you think that God is going to have his children counterbalance the negative and his gifts as well? Why would the devil have witches and God not have his mediums or his psychics or his prophets? I mean, Jesus would have never been found if it wasn't for the mystics, the psychics. The three wise men were psychics. They were prophets. Same thing. It's all lingo. The whole Bible, it talks about psychics and prophets. So all
and
tarot,
astrology.
Exactly. They wouldn't, the North Star, they wouldn't have even known, you know, where the North Star or what the North Star was without the astrology. You're right, Gypsy Mama. So it's all over the Bible. So, you know, tarot is just a tool. These are just tools, and you can use a tool for positive or negative. Yeah, there are witches that are satanic that worship the devil and work for evil. But that doesn't mean that all tarot and psychics are evil. It's all in your intention. These are just tools. So, and I also think that I asked J. Rocco, I said, does it really say in the Bible that you can't, and tarot, the word tarot is not even in the Bible. Tarot cards weren't even made then. So anyone who says that tarot reader, it says in the Bible that it's satanic, is a liar. Okay, sorry, just saying.
Well, and also remembering that, and I know this is a hard one for a lot of people to grasp still, because within the truther community, the religious community of it, a lot of them are still, it's hard for them to let go or to understand that the Bible has been manipulated. It's been altered. There's been so much taken out, like Mary Magdalene's story has been taken out of it. Her whole, everything about her has been manipulated and turned around. So just knowing that as well too, right, is that there's a lot to it that you really have to kind of like go again with your inner compass. Does that feel right? Because there, like I said, when I was young, or like when I was going to church and everything, there were parts of it that just did not resonate with me, and nobody could answer those for me, right? It was just like, well, that's just how it is. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think so. But this is a great part to actually, I would love for you to tell your story of the vision when Yeshua came to you recently.
Sure.
If you're okay speaking about that.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I haven't changed my website because I no longer refer to him as Jesus Christ, because that's not his name. His name was actually Yeshua Haromosha or something like that, but it was Yeshua. I forget the last name, but first name is Yeshua. So I have to change my website. But sure. So I don't know, about a month ago, I had been praying. I believe that Yeshua is one of my guides, and I had been praying to have a closer relationship with at the time I called him Jesus Christ and God. And I just went to, I've been praying and meditating, and I went to bed one night, and all I can say is that I was awoken. My eyes were still closed and I was still sleeping, but all of a sudden I awoke and my eyes were closed, but it was like I was going through a tunnel of like this, like fluorescent green and purple, and it was really, really fast. And I knew there was a presence. So I woke up, and then I felt this feeling of the most unbelievable love that I've ever felt in my life. And I might cry, and if I do, I apologize. It was the most beautiful feeling I have ever felt in my life. Until this day, this was the best moment of my life ever. It was a feeling of just non-judgment and love and peace that I can't even conceive. I can't even tell you about. And I knew it was him. I just knew. You just know. And so I said, and it's weird because I had always referred to him as Jesus Christ, but I remember I said, "Is it you, Yeshua?" So I instinctively knew he downloaded that his name was Yeshua. And he said, "Yes, it is me. It is I, my sister, Yeshua, my sister." And that's when I lost it. It floored me because I was always brought up that Yeshua was like God, and you're supposed to call him like a Lord, but he referred to me as his sister. So I just couldn't believe that. And then he just said to me, he basically said to me that he is everyone's brother and sister, and that he was the firstborn of our kind. And then I remember when he first came, I said, "I bow down to you, Yeshua, I bow down to you." And this is how I know it wasn't him. I mean, this was him, because if it was anyone else, they wouldn't have said this. And I said, "I bow down to you." And he said, "You don't bow to me." He said, "You only bow down to our Lord Creator. I am not God. I am the Son of Man." He didn't even call himself the Son of God. He called himself the Son of Man. And he goes, "I sit to the right hand of the Father. I am not the Father. I am not God." And then he let me know that our God never required a blood sacrifice, that was just done at the time because the deep, dark cult, the cabal, the devils at the time, they always required a blood sacrifice because they're devils, demons, they're awful. And the people at the time they equated God to wanting a blood sacrifice, but that's not our God. Our loving God never, ever required a blood sacrifice. And then Yeshua said, "I died not because you are sinful or that you sinned. I died because the world was sinful, and because the world killed me. It was never you." And then he said that we were born innocent, and we always will be, and that he suffered and died not because we're sinners, because the world is sinful. And the last thing he said to me is that I am your brother and sister. I am no better than you. I was just the first of your kind. I was just like the firstborn of any family, and I had a big burden to bear. But he said, and then the last thing he said to me was, "Expect the unexpected. You're waiting for God and for me, but you all need to know that God and I am waiting for you. That God is not going to just fold over and present himself into your life. You have to invite him in. And once you invite God and Yeshua in, pardon me, they will show up. But they're not an uninvited guest. And when I tell you how humble Yeshua is, I can't even describe it to you. He is the epitome of humility. So if all of you guys want a relationship with God and Yeshua, all you have to do is talk to him. You don't need a middleman. You don't need religion. You don't need a spirit guide. You just need to talk to God and Yeshua, and they will come to you. And he said to expect the unexpected. So
yeah,
that's basically it. And I apologize, but every time I did pretty good. Usually I'm more of a blubbering mess.
don't apologize at all. That story, I mean, that's the second time I've heard it, but it's, I remember the first time it was just full blown chills. And I knew, I mean, in hearing you speak it again and seeing your emotion from it, I know this to be true. And I know, like, even what he spoke to you, I know that Mary Magdalene is one of my guides as well. Yeah. And in her gospel that was taken out, she preached that we are not born of sin. We are not sinful. It is the world that is. I remember when I first heard you say that, and even just saying now, it's like I get these like truth bumps, because it's like I know that in the core of me, I know that this is true, and that we are not to bow down. You know, we are equal, and I know that he does see us as equal. So it's like when I hear that story, it's just, even though I didn't experience it, I feel like I have, because it's just so true deep into my soul that I know that that's true. And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think this is a big one for people to get around and to get over that hump of like, you know, having to go somewhere else and having to get here. I want to come back to this, but let me see if I can. Now I don't know how to do this. How do we get, okay. Stop share. Let's see if I can get past.
There you go.
Okay.
There you are.
I'm like, I want to go back to your website after though, but you know, getting away from having to go outside of you, right? Outside of you, that God is something to obtain through someone else, or through a religion, or if you've, you know, repented for this, or if you go through this and this. And that's simply not true, right? It's always right inside of us. And like you said, all you have to do is call upon them. God, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, whoever it is that you're wanting to, the Divine Holy Mother. That's another part of church that I always question. I'm like, what is it with the, like, there's no like big women like presence, right? And this book here was one that's real. Oh, you probably can't see it, my lighting. The Sophia Code. Yeah. And knowing that, of course, there is no creation without the coming together of the male and the female, right? The Divine Holy Mother is the dark womb that God, the spark, the light, come together with to create life, right? I mean, universal law, male, female, right? That's how creation works. So it all makes sense how so much has been altered within religion. And I do think that this is a big one for people, being able to break down that indoctrination, because it is an indoctrination that hinders you from a true relationship with source, with God, with our creator, right? Because we all harness that within us. And again, once you tap into that, you start to understand how truly powerful you are, that some of these gifts that Yeshua had, being able to heal people, we too have that. We can heal first and foremost ourselves. We have to understand and remember that before we can help to heal others. Being able telepathy, he spoke telepathy. Him and Mary Magdalene spoke telepathy. They were the divine union, the two of them. So there's so much that has been altered, right? And it is a big unlearning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On so many levels. And I think that's why it's hard for some people, right? This is where the compassion really comes out, is that some people, it's really hard for them to grasp that everything, because it really is, absolutely everything in the world is a lie and has been manipulated in some way, at least the things that we've been taught, like once you start truly doing your own research and finding what resonates with you, because it's going to be different for each and every one of us, right? I may say something, it may not resonate with someone else, but that's okay, right? It's finding but in the midst of it, it's the true power that we all hold. And that true power is that we harness a fractal of God within us. And that's why we are the creators of our life. We can create, we can manifest, because we harness that power within us. So such a beautiful story that you have to share. Thank you so much. It's just, I know that's only the second time that I've heard it, but it's just like, I get goosebumps, and I can feel it, right? Like it's so magical.
I actually, it's so funny, even though it was like the biggest moment of my life, I don't think about it that often. So I actually, it was nice to tell it again, because when I tell it, I relive it, and it reminds me, because you get caught in 3D, you have your spiritual moments, then you get caught in 3D. So it was nice to retell it and live it again, relive it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's see, I should check in on our chat. We've got a few more people. Discog, welcome. Carla, welcome. We've got Greg. What spiritual advanced being wants to be worshipped? I would feel very uncomfortable if someone got on their knees to worship me. That is an absolutely great point. And what you said as well is that he's, don't worship me. And you know what, it's funny. So my son I think he watched something at his dad's on the weekend, because he came back and he was like, Your Majesty, and he was like doing this, and I was like, why are you doing that? And he was like, Your Majesty. And I said, don't ever bow down to me or to any other person. I said, nobody is above. I mean, he's 4, right? But I'm just trying to like teach these things, because again, they're sponges. So yes, it's an innocent thing that he watched, and he's doing that on TV. But if I allow that, that's when you start seeing things like people worshiping the royals, or worshiping even, I mean, you can go as far as like people have worshipped famous people, actors and singers and all these different things, not even knowing the truth about them, right? And just like Greg said here, it's as soon as that's such a great point, that if you are channeling something, or you're connected to something, and they're telling you to worship them, cut that off. That is not of the light. That is not because you can, when you open yourself up, like you mentioned, even with your spirit board, you always have to be careful in everything that you're doing. When you're doing tarot, when you're doing pendulum, any type of thing that you're opening yourself up to energies, you do need to be careful that you're opening up to whatever. So that's why, again, spiritual protection is so important. Really listening to what is coming through is like, and listening with your third eye, which is your compass. If you're getting that knot in your stomach, or something's telling you like, this is weird, listen to that. Don't question it. Cut it off.
Exactly. Cut it off. Exactly. That's a perfect way to say it. Cut it off. Just say, okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah, exactly. We've got JR. Hey, welcome. Okay, so I want to get back to your website here, because I want people to be, where do I do this now? Let's see. Did I do that right again?
You did. And there you go. Yep. Look at you. Look at you. Technical.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about your, your backstory growing up. You also you do tea leaves.
No, I don't do tea leaves. What did you see? Tea leaves.
She started doing clairvoyant readings for her friends.
Yeah, sorry, I did do tea leaves. I did do tea leaves when I was, oh my God, that's so long ago. When I was first, I didn't have any tarot cards, so I did tea leaves.
Sweet. I love that. I just got my friend like these cards that were about learning tea leaves.
I haven't done it in so long because once I learned the tarot, I put the tea leaves aside because the tarot is so much easier.
Yeah. And so you've actually been doing tarot for quite a while, right? Like you've read for, like, this is something I wanted to get into that a little bit because I didn't realize that either until recently, that you've been reading for a really long time.
I have. So I've been kind of in the spiritual closet because of my family's Catholic and they all think I was a witch or a satanic. So I've been doing it on the side. So my main income was I was an executive assistant, a business administrator for many years, but as part-time, I've always done part-time tarot readings. And I've always done my spiritual work part-time. So I've been doing tarot for about 25 years now.
Wow. Oh, I love that. And so have you transitioned like fully into this is what you do? Or are you still working somewhere else as well?
I do contract jobs to keep me afloat, but I'm trying to get out of the 9-to-5 beast system, as we all are. Yes. Because I've been spiritual for many, many years, and I've only been fully awake for the last 6 months, believe it or not. I did not know. I always knew that something was wrong with the world, but I didn't know to the extent of it. So I'm new to the truther, longtime spiritual person, new to this truther community. So now that I know everything, I can't, like, my God does not want me to go back to it. So I'm going to fight tooth and nail to not go back to it. So I do contract gigs, but I'm getting more and more, once my the more that my YouTube channel grows, the more clients I'm getting. So I'm starting to get more and more soul therapy sessions, and I got in touch with all my old clients because I'm new to this virtual. I'm used to doing readings one-on-one in person. And I did a lot of tarot parties because when I worked as an executive assistant, I worked for a wealth management company, one of my main gigs, and that there were a lot of rich people. And once they learned that I did readings, they wanted me to do parties. So I'm starting to do more virtual tarot parties. I'm starting to do more virtual tarot readings. So business is picking up. So I am starting to do it more full time. But it's a process.
Yeah, I love the idea of the tarot party. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of rich people like that.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
What can I do? What can I do? What could be let's have a tarot party.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So when I have those, I make a lot of money there. So if I get a couple of tarot parties, I can kind of work my way through. But you know how it is. It's when you have your own business, it's hard.
It is. Yep. Oh, it totally is. I totally get that. So I did want, like I said, I've pinned your website.
Thank you.
This chat, I'm going to put it afterwards because not everybody always goes into like the chat part after. So I'll make sure I have it like on the video as well. So make sure you guys, please go check her out. I mean, also like your prices are affordable, which is something that I really appreciate that, and I'm not knocking anybody that, we each have our own things. But for some, it's hard, right? It's hard that we want to be able to tap into some of this stuff and financially aren't able to. So I really appreciate it when there are things that are still affordable and honoring your gifts, right? Because obviously you need to honor what you're offering as well. So yeah, I think that's absolutely.
Oh, thank you. I just feel that I've seen in the chat, and I'm sure you've seen too, that so many people that say I would love a reading, but I can't afford it, and that breaks my heart. Or I use your services and I can't afford it. So I always say, I'll work with anyone. I'm not going to not work with you. but there has to be an equal exchange, like you said, a give and take.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too, like, and I'm sure you were the same, like for me, it was so hard to even put a price, because I was like, I know that I'm here to help people. Like, I know that this is what I'm here to do. So I'm like, how do I charge people to do this?
Exactly. It's hard to do.
It's so hard. And then you understand energy more, and you understand how it becomes unbalanced. And then it affected me because I was, doing a lot of things for free and giving away, because I've always been that person. My mom was that person. My grandma is just always like, we're here to help people.
Right.
But then that unbalance comes and it hits you. It hits everybody in different ways, but it was like, wow, okay, I understand there has to be an exchange of energy in some way, right? Like I still envision a time that we're going to come to where we're back to more exchanging of things, opposed to having this currency, which is an energy as well, right? It's just
exactly.
So Owen Laurie says that you're very good at what you do, and I agree.
Thank you.
I do have your YouTube up as well too, because you've done amazing jobs at offering readings to people as well. You do that on your channel, and it is good that I saw the last time that you were accepting donations, which again, like we said, the energy exchange.
Yeah.
So it is
it is.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I didn't ask you if you even had your cards with you. So I don't know if you even do, but I was wondering, because we just had the full moon in Virgo.
Okay.
I know I'm not the only one who is still feeling this energy. This full moon, I believe, was a very, very big one of really detoxing. Some people literally did detoxes during this time. Full moons are great times to do like a parasite detox. But this one, Virgo energy, is very big on like pushing through, in order, like, I know we've been purging so much. So many people have been purging in order to like really let go, and if you missed the full moon, we're still in the energy. So don't feel like you can't still do any of these things, but really set those intentions of anything that you want to fully let go of, to fully let that go. And I was just wondering, or even intuitively, do you have any messages maybe for the collective at all?
Sure, I'll grab some card. I'll grab these.
Do you mind? Okay.
No problem. I have to I need some space. So here we go. Can you still see me?
I can. Yeah.
Gotta be up. So did you want me to just what did you want me to pull, or you want me to just give a message, or?
Yeah, I was just wondering, because with this month is huge.
It is. I've been exhausted. How have you been feeling? Like, I feel like I can't get enough sleep. Like the last 3 days, it was so weird because the energy before, no one could sleep. Remember, there were months where no one could sleep, or people were sleeping and they'd get up in the middle of the night and they couldn't stay asleep. But now I'm finding that everyone's exhausted. How have you been?
Yeah, I'm kind of finally starting to come out of that exhaustion because I was in that big time through the purge. I was like real, and waking up. I'm still waking up, not as much, but I'm still having tons of vivid dreams. And I usually don't remember my dreams. So for me to wake up and it's like every night, all these things, and it's a lot of people. So I know that it has to do with a lot of like, somebody will come up and it's like, okay, that's to let that go. It's pushing through. And water. It's like, I cannot get enough water. And
I know. See, notice how it's like I could go through another glass of this.
Oh yeah. Like I always have water with me by my bed, but it's like, I will wake up and I feel like I literally have not had water in weeks.
Yeah.
And I just been called to like, I mean, I love baths, but like, it's just more and more, it's just like, I need to, like, even last night I got home because I'm in court again, actually starting the equinox. So I met with my lawyer last night and I didn't get home till like close till 11. And I was like, I need to get in a detox bath. I have to do this. I don't care how late it is. It's like, I just have to do this. So it's like really listening to that. I think whatever your body is calling you to do right now, you know, if your body's saying go stand in the sun or go put your feet outside or just sit in silence or move, that's one thing. I finally am like feeling like I found this new like, because I don't like workout things. I love to dance. Dancing is that's my creativity. And I found this like workout thing where it's all dancing.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I finally have that energy to be doing it, to like, and I'm enjoying moving my body again. So
nice. Hey, have you ever done belly dancing? I used to teach belly dance.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, we gotta do some belly dancing, girls.
I would love to. I actually, my brother and sister-in-law, I'm part of their group here. It's called Tribal Vibes. So we do belly dancing, drumming, and fire dancing. But I haven't been able to do a lot of the shows with them lately, just because I've been working on my business a lot more. So
yeah. Well, you know, I work out at the gym, but you don't have to work out at the gym. Like I danced for many years. I was a dancer too. I did tap ballet and jazz. Since I was a little girl, I've been a singer, and I used to teach dancing. But any type of dancing or anything that you love, that you're called to do, I think the Creator is calling us to use our divine gifts and things that we're passionate about. And people say, what's our purpose? And quite frankly, your purpose is, what are you passionate about? What makes your heart sing? What do you love doing when you're doing it, the whole world dissolves and you're just focused on that? That's your divine purpose.
You said it so perfectly. So, because that is a question that so many people have. It's always like, what am I here to do? Well, go. What is it that lights you up? You know,
exactly.
You need to go back to your childhood. Ben Thompson is one that talks about that, where he talks about, he used to do these amazing drawings when he was a kid. He had hundreds of books of these drawings that he did. And so it's like, go back to that. Like you just said, dancing for me that is when I'm most connected to source. It is when I get lost. There's nothing else around me. I'm just I'm in flow with source,
Right. It's your creative expression.
Yeah. And it's moving the energy, right? Like, because when you think about like disorders, disease, pains, all discomforts, that's stuck energy in our body. So whether it's dancing or if it's working out or whatever you do to move that energy, we need to be doing that right now, because we're moving through so much energy. There's so much energy being pushed through the collective.
Oh, absolutely. So when we were talking, this came out. I don't know if you can see it, the Hermit. So this is basically, so we're being called to really go within. Yeah, this was a full moon. I was pulling, so this came out. So this is actually the energy of going within. We're being called to just take time away to really do some soul searching. I really believe that that experience that I had with Yeshua, don't think that he didn't know that I have a YouTube channel and that I was going to tell my story.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm just saying that we all really need to get out of our comfort zones. You know, the reason why I started a YouTube channel is because I know I needed to do something. I couldn't just sit around. I also knew I needed to make friends because all my friends didn't know what I was talking about.
Yep. Right? Yeah, exactly.
I needed to find people that I could connect with, that I could talk to. So I just think that we all really need to kind of stick with our tribe and kind of turn off the television and go within. So that was a big thing with the Virgo from moon. So I'm not into the astrology like you are, so I'm glad you told me it was a Virgo full moon. But let's see what spirit wants to tell us about the full moon and the energy of the full moon. Angels, archangels, spirit, that's to keep me safe, protected. My life to interpret the clearly applied from the Archangel Michael and Yeshua to keep me protected. All right, just had to say my prayer. This fell out. So, yeah, Divine Mother, you think a little bit. So what we were just talking about, a lot of people think the Empress card is just about the mother, but it's not just about the mother. It is about mothering and nurturing yourself. However, I see the Empress as nurturing your divine gifts. So I think this again is telling us to really dig deep into what do we love to do, nurture ourselves. And part of nurturing ourselves is doing what we love to do. And I love what you said about that Ben man. I just think that being like a child again. Remember we used to play make believe when we were little? And that's the whole thing about manifesting. Manifesting in the law of attraction is playing make believe, acting as if. So I think the energy of the moon is telling us to go within and to nurture ourselves and to be the mothers to ourselves. Like, you're a wonderful mother, but I know some of us don't have such wonderful mothers. I love my mother and she does the best that she can, but she's not the best mother. So I think we have to, it's also the full moon is telling us that we have to be nurturing to ourselves. Things are flying here. Let's see what else that the full moon has to offer. Oh. Sorry, my cards are flying.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
They want to tell their story.
Exactly. And it's funny, I haven't used these cards in a long time because you know how you get different decks and then I bought new decks. So these are like older cards. So it's good. I'm pulling them out again. Well, we just went through a big change. So that's the Page of Wands. So this is the card of curiosity. I think a lot of us have been curious. I think a lot of us have tried new things. We're going into a new direction. I think people are starting to wake up. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Are you feeling that even the normies are starting to wake up? Because I'm getting that.
Oh yeah, and I really feel that this moon was a big part of like people are gonna wake up from this, or if they with their soul contract, if they've decided not to, it's like I think we're at that point now,
right,
where it's like people, it's because it's everywhere. And I mean, I have conversations, I don't go out a ton, but you know, at my work, even the amount of conversations that I have with people where it's like, oh wow, like you weren't saying that even 2 months ago, right? Or I mean, unfortunately, people are experiencing things within their family and friends in their circle, you know, from, you know, things that were taken. So unfortunately, they're being woken up that way, or they're starting to question. But those people that you still are like, that are still doing like this and this, I think that we now, you can kind of just be like, send them love and light, and just know that their soul contract was to not wake up during this time. And I'm not saying to still like always plant seeds, but so many people put so much energy, and I was one too. I was just like, I gotta wake up everybody, you know. And it's like, then you come to that realization, right, of like, we all come here agreeing to something, right? So those of us who are awake at this time, we did that because as other people are now awakening through a harder time, I feel like those that are awakening right now, it's almost harder because most of them have done this, or they've pushed people away, or they've said this. They're really having to, like, you know, swallow that crow, or you know, and just be like, so it's that compassion, right? This is where we really need to step up and just be compassionate, and just to be like, welcome.
Right.
We are here to help you through this, and forgiveness, right? Because that truly is what it's all about. Like, the forgiveness is not forgetting, or, you know, what happened, but it's also releasing. It releases the energy that you're holding on to. Right? So even if it's something that you feel like you could never forgive someone for, you need to do that forgiveness, if anything, for yourself. Right? Again, because if we are not truly healing ourselves first and foremost, we can't help other people in their healing.
Amen. Well said. Well said, my sister. I couldn't have put it any better. It's serious. You know, not forgiving someone is like having what's like this, having a snake bite you and expecting the other person to die of the poison. It's just ridiculous.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. We have to forgive and we have to be there for them, because according to this, they're really waking up. People are starting to open up their eyes. People are starting to be curious. They're thinking differently. They're awaking. This is where we are now. So we're there. That's a breakthrough coming. We're on the verge. So people are starting to have new ways of thinking, new ways of communicating. Their minds opening. They're really minds opening. I mean, it's not easy so this is the general air. I mean, people, it's very hard for people. People are going to be heartbroken. People are going to feel stuck. I mean, let's face it. It's not easy. And when you get the red pill, when you swallow the red pill, you know, Neo, take the blue or the red. I took the red, right? We all took the red. It's a bitter pill.
Oh yeah.
Reality is, I say this to my friend Lori all the time, Lori Williman, my soul sister. Reality is worse than any science fiction horror movie ever. I mean, could any of us imagine what really was happening? It's mind-boggling how the amount of evil in this world. So let's face it, when it happens, like you said, we're going to have to be there for these people. And we can't sit there and go, I told you so, I told you so, and not be there for them, because that's not spiritual and that's not what God creator wants. We need to forgive them for not waking up on time, or we need to forgive them for not knowing, because they didn't know. It's not like they decided to be dumb and sleeping. They didn't decide it. And this is our near future. So I think there's going to be a trophy. It's going to make us stronger. I think it's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of action. It's going to happen quick. And I also think that this is like the strength card. I always see it as the trophy. You've worked for it for a long time. It's not something that you've just, so I think things are happening. I mean, the high priestess. So it's a highly spiritual time. I think a lot of intuition, a lot of hidden secrets are coming through.
Yeah, I feel that.
Here's our truth again, too. I mean, is the truth. So I think that this full moon was kind of made us kind of be a hermit and made us tired. So we would withdraw. I think we needed to gain energy, but I do think, well, Gypsy Mama, no one knows the timing. I mean, no one, not even it says in the Bible that not even the Son of God, the Son of Man, knows the timing. So we know that things are happening. We just don't know exactly when or what, but we're on the verge of a breakthrough according to these cards.
Yeah, those are beautiful cards. Thank you.
They are
and
beautiful
it's so
cards.
True, because we are the ones who are changing the timelines, right? Like again, this is where I know Marin's another one that always talks about this too, where it's like, we are the storm, we are the alliance. It's not, again, because even in the truther community, people are still waiting. They're waiting for Trump, or they're waiting. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that on it. Whatever. There's so many things you can and can't say.
I know, it's awful.
But like, stop waiting for someone or some flash or something, because it's us. We are the ones, the more work that we do, and also forgiving yourself, forgiving the stuff that maybe you did before you knew, right? Because that's a big one. A lot of people talk about, because I've never done this with my kids for anything. And I talk to some people like, oh, I wish I would have known. And it's like, forgive yourself for that. Just forgive, because again, that's part of the path, right? That was part of your soul journey, their soul journey, now. So now you do different, right? There's no, living in that guilt is not going to help us any, right? We need to forgive ourselves. We need to forgive others. And as we do the work, and as we, come together more, which we've seen, right? They tried to divide us and it really only brought us stronger. There was a lot of division, there still is, but really I have seen true coming together, true connection with people, and a lot of that, yes, is online and all over the place, but it's like nothing I've ever felt before.
Exactly.
And we are the ones changing the timelines. We are the ones speeding this up. And I truly believe that more and more people are awakening every single day. I do believe that. And your cards show it too. So Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish we could do it immediately, but I think you said it, so eloquently and perfectly. It's up to each individual soul contract. It really is.
Yeah.
And, it's, we all want it to happen now, of course. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've been there. I mean, I even last week I was saying like, when is this gonna, like this collapse need to happen? Like there's so many things that we still see things happening to people, and it's like when we can't stop it, right? And it's hard to witness that, like when you're awake, and it's hard to witness these things. But it's also realizing like this is thousands of years that we've been manipulated and under this control that we're breaking. We are the ones that have come here at this time to break this, to break this, to heal our ancestral lineage, back and forward, right? Like we came here for this time specifically. This is not easy work, and it does take time, right? And what is time? We think that it's taking all this time, but what is time? Like in the astral and in the spiritual, this is seconds, not even, right?
Exactly. There is no time. Only in this 3D world is there time. So it's so long to us, it's probably like a blip in the eye on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. So this has been so amazing. I love your energy, and I feel like I could just be on with you all day long here. And I'm sure other people that are listening in and that will catch the replay, they too just are tapping into your beautiful energy that you have. So thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Right back at you.
I love being able to like hear your story more and get to know you better. So definitely people, if you're I see a lot of other people have jumped on lately. So I have Delphine's, her website is pinned, but I also put her YouTube in the chat as well. And I'll make sure I have it on Brianna says 111. Is that maybe the time? Is she? I don't know. Oh yeah, it was 111 for my time. It's probably different for your time.
111. Yay! That's divine timing. It was meant to be.
So again, to all the amazing women, happy International Women's Day. So much love to you all. I know that it has been a lot of the women who have kind of lit the fire, right? And I'm so blessed to see the men, especially within our soul tribe, that have really been holding us, right? And really been showing us. There's been so many men in our soul tribe that it's really beautiful to see, because I think a lot of times I give up and it's like, there's no more men. What has happened to them? And then we get to witness this beauty. So I thank you to you all. And Delphine, thank you so much. We definitely need to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. And if you said you were brave enough to want to come on one of the roundtables with the gang, so you have an open invitation. You know the trouble you get in with Dennis and Jay, but
I would absolutely love that. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You have an open invitation anytime.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. My dog's trying to get in here. Sorry.
I love animals. Thank you so much as well. This has been such an honor and a dream. I've been watching your channel. I've been a fan of yours for a long time. So this is so magnificent.
Thank you so much. Much love to you all. Have an absolutely amazing day. If you didn't catch the beginning, I encourage you to go check it out. And whoops, sorry, she's going crazy here. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Okay.
I think we're off.
I think it
said the recording stopped. I think you might be still on though.
I think it is.
Should I leave?